Welcome to Tunks and Tells, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to say we're joined by John Lowe. John, how did it all start?
It all started when I was 21. By trade, I'm a carpenter by trade. And I also used to race motorcycles.
All right.
That was my passion. And so somebody said, "You never threw darts till you were 21?" I said, "No, I didn't. Not even as a kid." I'm also from a very religious background.
Yeah.
And it was church every Sunday and stuff like that, But I went into a pub, the Butcher's Arms at Brimington, Chesterfield, and 4 guys were playing darts. One went to the toilet and he said, "Would you take my throw?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So I had a throw, and he said, "Oh, you seem to be doing okay," and left me on the board with his darts. And that's what did it. I just got hooked on the game.
Yeah.
And there was no world championships or anything like that, so I just played basically for fun.
Yeah.
And on 1 or 2 things locally, local leagues, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's where I started.
Would that be sort of, in those days, was it every pub had a dart board? It was easy to play darts?
Darts was like fish and chips in
Yeah.
Great Britain, every pub.
Yeah.
And at that time we had something like 70,000 pubs in Great Britain.
Yeah.
And the Darts League kept the pubs Wednesday and Tuesday nights. It kept the livelihood for the landlord.
Yeah.
It was all about. It was like a British institution, really.
Yeah. When did you know you was going to be handy at this?
I never knew I was really good until I played local league and then started to win, or the other way round, didn't lose. Not about winning; it was about you didn't lose because you only had 1 game, double in, double out, like you're playing on telly. And you won your leg. And I went all season, the first season, unbeaten. Maybe the players weren't that good. I don't know, But then I grew up with television.
Yeah.
The TV grabbed hold of it, the news of the world.
Yeah.
And so after 10 or 15 years on TV, I knew the cameraman by the first name.
Yeah, that's it.
I grew up with television.
Yeah. And the throw, which most people would agree is just about as perfect as you can throw a dart. Was that manufactured to get like that, or is that how it happened? Was it natural?
No, it's natural, but it's not, because I've always been one to try. I always had this theory at darts: try and make them at the dartboard on their own. Yeah. That's why I went through all that business of making them balanced and things like that. Make the game as easy as you can, and that way it takes all the hard work out of it. Yeah. So I worked on not getting back pain, so I made sure I was stood okay and stuff like that. And that's the only reason I'm still playing today. Plus, I have a good pair of eyes. Yeah,
that's it. And looking here, we World Master in 1976, but then the World Championship came about just up the road in Nottingham here. You made the final against Leighton. You obviously didn't win that, but that must have been an experience, a World Championship.
It was great. That all started, the World Championship started with Mike Watterson from Chesterfield, who rang me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "Look, we want to run a World Championship. I need 32 players." I said, "Well, we've only got about 4. There's only about 4 professionals at that time." Yeah. And I put him on Dollycraft. Yeah. And that's how it all started, up here. Yeah. It was great. It set it all off on its road to what it is today. Yeah. It was £3,000 for the winner, which nice. Leighton got. I think I got 1,500 for runner-up. But more than that, we made every newspaper, we made television. That's the thing. It was on terrestrial television for 7 days. Yeah, yeah. And I made sure that was the important thing to keep on TV. Yeah. I kept on TV for years and years and years and years, and thankfully the World Championship started. Yeah. And then the following year at Stoke-on-Trent, Jollies, and you lift a trophy. I did the same player. I beat Leighton the second year. A strange story, we used to have place 3 sets in the afternoon and then come back at night. But I won all 3 in the afternoon, so when we come back at night, I only needed another 2. Yeah. And Peter Dyke from Embassy came up to me and said, "Is there any chance you can throw a set?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Some of the people are not here yet." So I'd finished the Wonder World title before the venue was full, and they had to put an exhibition match on, would you believe? I was more. I mean, Leighton said, "Just get on with it." He wouldn't have given me anything, and great experience and a great guy, Leighton. Brilliant. And then, of course, 3 defeats in finals against Eric, Jockey, and then Eric, and then you finally beat Eric. Your nemesis at the time, really, that must go down as perhaps just your biggest achievement, would you say? Your second World Championship? No, I should have beaten him the first time quite easily. I was 3 sets to 0 up. And then I got this terrible flu come on, really ill. I was going to pull out of the game, Ollie Croft said, come on, we ought to get you to hospital. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I said, no, we just get on with it, get it done. I was covered in sweat. And,
Yeah.
But I always put that one down that got away. Not my fault, it just got away through illness, really.
Yeah, that's it. And then you made a final against Bob Anderson at 640 feet there. But then your third title, and your third in a different decade, against Alan Warren. And perhaps that was actually the last unified, if you like, title with before the split in darts in 1993.
It was. I played Alan in the final. I had a really good final that year. Not final. I had a good event all the way through. The final wasn't that good, actually. I played Bobby George in the earlier round. And I played Barney when he first came over that year, and recorded 10 180s against him. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
But the final with Alan was, he couldn't hold the darts. He was so nervous. The sweat was pouring off his hands. And it didn't make for the best final. No. But in the record books it says I won and Alan lost, unfortunately.
That's it. And it being your 8 final sort of
that's right.
That experience.
It was the last year, and I'm the only world champion never to defend his title.
Yeah, of course.
There'll be the old banders from playing that following year.
Yeah.
And off we went to form the World Darts Council, or I think it was the World Darts, something else then, Federation or whatever. Yeah. And it all started again. Yeah.
And then, if you don't mind, mention 95, a match that the great Sid Waddell described as the greatest game ever. At the time, a semi-final against Phil Taylor, 5-4. That the atmosphere from television watching that must have been. I know you lost the game, but that must have been a fantastic match to play in.
It was a great match, and it was one that I honestly believed I'd win.
Yeah.
And Phil actually started to drop off in that match. His throw went down and mine come up, and then he came back, and we one leg with 2 back-to-back 180s each. I think it was 4 180s in the leg, which was stunning. And anybody who thinks darts today is miles in front of then, they should take a good look at the myself and Eric Bristow, 17 year at the Embassy, averaged 29.7 for 17 years.
And that's with a few bounce outs as well, isn't it? We have big staples, so those averages match up.
Yeah, you don't see many bounce outs now.
No.
Very rare. The wires are wafer thin. And the more we look at it, those boards, they did take a lot of playing. They did.
Very much. An event I haven't mentioned, 1981, News of the World. I mean, thrown from 8 feet, you're sort of qualifying in your own pub in sort of best of 3 legs all the way through to the final. To win that, you've got to be a proper player, haven't you?
That was the World Championship. The News of the World was the World. If you won that, although it's called World to it only went basically United Kingdom, Ireland, and then it sneaked into Sweden and then America. And we added 2 more in. But if you won that, I had to play 64 games to get to the final. 64 games, just best of 3 from 8 feet. And that's when I did lose a local league for the simple reason I stepped back. We only play, my local league is 9 foot from the bull, which is only 7'1" along the floor, and I stepped back to 8 foot.
Oh, really?
And I did lose 3 or 4 games that year because I was miles behind the players.
If you don't mind me mention a couple of the names in sort of late 70s, early 80s. I remember watching darts on the telly, and it would be, obviously Jockey Wilson. But say you and Eric, it reminded me of, in snooker you had Jimmy, you had Jimmy White, but maybe Davis and Higgins. In tennis you had Borg and McEnroe. Like every family they had their favourite. Maybe you was the housewife's favourite, John. Eric, this sort of young upstart. What was the rivalry like? Did you get on there with these players?
We shared prize money right up until 1 week before I did the 9-dart game. And then his manager, Dick Alex, said that he was a better player than me and he shouldn't share anymore. And he told me 1 week before. And
that was nice then.
It was. He never took it. He just said to me, "Look, that's how it goes." And we did fall out for a couple of years where we didn't speak a lot. And now we go on holiday together.
Yeah, that says it all. And how darts has changed, obviously, the beer, the smoking ban on the stage with the players, which of course is great. Did you ever envisage it would be where it is now, packing out, the Premier League, 10,000 people on the opening night in Liverpool this year in Echo Arena? I mean, it is massive, isn't it? Did you ever see that happening?
Yeah, well, I hope so, because when we broke away, I was the one that Embassy did offer me £20,000 to go back. And I said, no, we've got to have the principles of it and set the game up how it should be for everybody else following us. Got to leave a legacy somewhere. And we didn't know it was going to happen. Originally, the WDC was in a spot of bother. They didn't really have any prize money or anything. We were all owed money for months before we got us prize money. And then Matchroom, I suppose, came to the aid with Barry Hearn and his team. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it prospered from there on in. And it's only as big today, I believe, because then 14 players broke away. Yeah.
Well, finally, if you don't mind, John, I think we spoke about you're playing golf, and obviously you're still doing exhibitions. Anything? What makes John Lowe tick now? What's a day in the life of John Lowe about now?
It's very much. I do. If somebody brings me up and said we want you to go to Australia, I just jump at the chance of it, and off I go. And I play a few exhibitions. I might go to Canada. I've just been to Dubai, and I do. I'll not stop playing darts wherever I can at the top level. If ever I drop down where the standard's not very good, then I'll say goodbye. But while ever I'm up there competing, not when I say competing, I don't mean on the big stage. No. It is on the big stage, but really they're exhibitions. I'll keep going and enjoy it. Yeah.
Thanks for your time there, John. I haven't mentioned on purpose the 1984 to 9 dart checkout against Keith Deller. That's actually available on the Unicorn YouTube channel. Association with Unicorn Darts. My name is Paul Starr. That's John Lowe. Thanks for joining us on Tonks and Tales.